Hey folks, Libby here once again. Hope you enjoyed my review of The Adventures of Sharp Boy and Lava Girl, and thank you for 2 more subs, 44 subscribers. Let's keep it going, guys. And thank you very much for the views on that video. I hope nobody took it personal. Remember, my reviews, same thing with my other channel and this new channel, which is the mass profile picture, by the way. Um, don't take any of my reviews personal. It's just my opinion. I'm not doing reviewing movie reviews. I'm just reviewing it to give my opinion because I'm passionate about films. And if I hate movies, I just gotta be honest, folks, about how I feel. It's my channel, my voice, my opinion, my perspective from in watching the movie. I just want to make that clear. But thank you for the views and stuff. Really appreciate it. I didn't get views like that real quick when I even started on my YouTube channel about 10 years ago. But as y'all know, I'm on the superhero marathon on my YouTube channel. And this time I'm reviewing the 2005 superhero film. Well, this is another revisit review. Last time it was The Incredibles. Last time I reviewed this movie because the Fan Fourth that came out in 2015. It's not No, it's not that movie. It's not the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. This is the 2005 version superhero film, starring Iron Gufford, Jessica Alba, Michael Chelsky, and Chris Evans, and Julie McMahon, and that is Fantastic Four, the 2005 film. This is double feature of both films on Blu-ray. Sadly, they don't have features. I don't think you just get trailers and a commentary with, I think, with the director Tim Story. But Fantastic Four, the 2005 movie, yeah, this is a double feature. Yeah, this is the first movie right here, which you could watch. When you get the Blu-ray of it. It is nice on Blu-ray, and the audio is really good too. But since it's the first movie we're talking about, I'll just have the subcover out. The 2005 movie, so you'll see the thumbnail in the video, so there's no confusion here. But yeah, just definitely check out this channel. And Batman Begins did come out also in June, but I already reviewed Batman Begins. If you look on my let's see, superhero reviews marathon videos playlist on my channel, I promise you. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, Batman Begins. I put it on that, and I also put my original review for Fantastic Four for this movie on there. So you'll definitely see it. So if you want to see my review of Batman Begins, I put it on there. So just in case. And I've already reviewed it about I think 2 years ago at least. Yeah. So anyway, so this movie, in my opinion, this film is definitely an underrated movie in my opinion. I've never understood the hate for it. I've always loved the 2005 version. I kind of grew up with this version. I watched, sorry, I watched this, saw this film in theaters. This film's gonna be 20 next year. Can you believe it? And let's just say it may not be amazing, but I do think it's a fantastic movie. Excuse the pun. But I think this is a fun movie. There are problems. I do have some issues with the movie, but despite that, it's still a good Marvel movie. This is you say this happened basically because now Blade Trinity, Elektra, those are Marvel 2, and those films still suck. Uh, yeah, but we had Spider-Man 2 that came out that year. I mean, last year, the previous year, 2004, and Spider-Man 2 was a huge hit. So I think that's in a way we got this film because of Spider-Man 2. Yeah, yeah. Not because of Elektra. Elektra just sucked. Well, you can say we got Spider-Man 2, Blade Trinity, Elektra, those are not good. Yeah. That's why I think Spider-Man 2 was another big reason we got other superhero films when it came out, like Fantastic Four. See, when a comic book film is so successful, now Spider-Man 2 is better than this, in my opinion, but Fantastic Four, they are Marvel. They were created by Stan Lee, the late Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby. I think they were the first Marvel characters to be created, I believe. Well, basically, these four characters, that is, they gain these superpowers from a cosmic race during a scientific mission to outer space. You have Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, a genius who's a scientific genius, and he's the leader of the group. He can stretch his body into incredible length and shapes. The Invisible Woman, Susan Storm, or Susan Storm Richards, because she marries Reed, Reed's girlfriend and later wife, who can render herself invisible and project powerful invisible force shields and blast with her hands. The Human Torch, Johnny Storm's his younger brother, he can generate flames around himself, surround himself with them, and fly. And the monstrous thing, Ben Grimm. They're grumpy, but he's their friend. He's a former college football star. Nothing that in here, but he's a skilled pilot, which they do add that in the movie. and that he's been in outer space as an astronaut. And despite his, Ben's rock like body, you know, it's like rock. He gets superhuman strength and he endures to his stone like flesh. Just reading about their history a little bit. Goodman, a publishing, Stan Lee wanted to create a comic book series about a team of superheroes. Reportedly, writing in 1974, Martin mentioned that he had noticed one of the titles published by National Comics seemed to be selling better than most. It was a book called The Sick Justice League of America. Lee, who had directed and editor, who has served as an editor-chief and art director of Marvel Comics and predecessor companies. This is before a time before Marvel Comics even really existed, before they became like a big, huge thing. I think so. Yeah, they both, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, came up with the idea to create these characters. Yeah, and they've been around since 1961. Not gonna read all the comics, but they were also in Spider-Man the animated series. Well, I think the thing was they do have a Fantastic Four animated series. I think that came out before this, and of course the 1994 Roger Corman film that was never that was the unreleased version that was never got released. But I reviewed that film. That's on the superhero reviews as well, and I didn't care for that movie. This is definitely better than the 1994 film. I still say that's the worst Fantastic Four movie. People will say it's 2015 one. No, Fantastic Four. No, that's more tolerable than that movie. I hated the 1994 film. I thought it was just terrible, in my opinion. But we'll get into the production of the movie. I'm not going to go into the comics about it. You can look it up. RP, or you can buy a Fantastic Four comic yourself and just read about them. Yeah. We're not going to be here all day talking about the entire comic books of them. In 1983, German producer Berman Edler met with Stanley at his home in Los Angeles to explore obtaining an option for a movie based on the Fantastic Four. The option was not available until 3 years later, when Constantine Film Company obtained it from Marvel Comics for a price that the British call not enormous. It's about estimated to $250,000. Warner Brothers and Columbia Pictures showed interest, but were cautious of Intuit's $45 million budget. The option is scheduled to expire on December 31st, 1992. Ellinger asked Marvel for an extension, with none forthcoming. Ellinger planned to retain his option for producing a low-budget Fantastic Four film. Reasoning, he said in 2005, they didn't say I had to make a big movie. In '92, he approached B movie director and producer Roger Corman. This is when we got into the 1994 film. An idea of producing the film a $5 million budget in order to keep the rights, which he eventually decided to bring down to $1 million. In 1994, the adaptation of the Fantastic Four had its trailer released to cinemas, and its cast and director went on a promotional tour. However, the film was not officially released. The film was accused of being an edgeless copy, meaning it was only made up to keep the license. Lee and Ellis said that the editors had no idea of the situation, instead believing they were creating a popular release. Marvel Comics, maybe they did do that just to keep the rights. Yeah. And we had some Marvel movies before this. Before that, you had Howard the Duck, which flopped. You had The Incredible Hulk Returns and Charlie the Incredible Hulk were TV movies. And you had The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Those were Marvel, but they were not very successful. Well, the other two Hulk movies, they were just TV films. But that came out of a time where I guess they just wanted to keep the rights for it. So they said Corman, Roger Corman is known for making B movies. So they're like, let's give it to him. Let's keep the rights here. Let's just, hey, we got $5. Let's make a movie. And that film, I'm sorry, those effects were terrible in that movie. Don't give me that crap. It's 1994. Watch The Mask from 1994. That has great special effects, and so does The Shadow. Mm, you know, you know, seen a lot of good superhero movies, and they have good special effects. Yeah. This film, by the way, the 2005 version, yeah, has better special effects than that movie. For 20th Century Fox, hired Chris Columbus to write and direct Fantastic Four in '95. He developed a screenplay with Michael French, but decided to step down as director and focus on producing Fantastic Four under his 1492 picture company. Peter Segal was hired to direct it in April 1997 and was replaced by Sam Wiseman. By the end of the year, 20th Century Fox brought in Sam Hamm to rewrite the script in April 1988. I think that guy worked on Batman. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, yeah, he wrote the scripts, the stories for Batman and Batman Returns. In an attempt to lower the 165 million projected budget, sorry if I can barely talk so fast, sorry if I'm going too fast. In February 1990, with the development taking longer than expected, Eldner and 20th Century Fox signed a deal with Marvel to extend the control of the film rights for another 2 years, with a summer 2001 release planned, and hiring Roger Gosnell to direct. However, Gosnell decided to Scooby-Doo in 2002 instead and dropped out in October 2000. In April 2001, Peyton Reed signed on to direct Fantastic Four, and Mark Foster was brought on board for another rewrite. Even though Peyton didn't do it, he would go on to direct Ant-Man, which is also Marvel, but that would be many years later after this, when we had the MCU. Reed departed the project in July 2003. Explains 2015. I developed for the better part of a year with three different sets of writers, but it became clear while Fox had a very different movie in mind, and they were also chasing a release date, so we ended up parting company. But it wasn't so bad for Payne really said, like he said, he went on to direct Ant-Man, which came out in 2015, and the two sequels. They came out in 2018 and 2023, so he wasn't done with Marvel. But it became clear after a while that Fox had a very different movie in mind. Oh, sorry. Reed's version was described as being influenced by A Hard Night. Matt McSkillian, edition for Reed versus Mr. Fantastic, he didn't get the part, but he did play the main villain, or two of the main villains in Doctor Strange. But Iron Gopher was cast instead. He recalled his addition as humiliating. Other actors who joined the film: Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, Elizabeth Invisible Woman, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, Human Torch, Mark Cheskis as Ben Grimm, Joe McMahon as Doctor Doom. Sean Astin was one of the candidates to direct the movie. His reasoning for wanting to direct it, despite never having directed a feature before and not being familiar with the comics, was that he was wanting to step up into filmmaking and felt that doing Fantastic Four film would allow him to leave a mark. Despite not getting the job, Tom Rothman was impressed with his determination and hoped to work with him on a future project. Robert Downey Jr. generously considered for the role of Doom. He would later be cast as the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he would appear in Avengers Doomsday 2026. Yeah, I've heard that, and I'm not really down for Robert Downey Jr. and he's Iron Man. He's just not Doctor Doom. I'm like, yeah, it seems like I think, from what I heard, Marvel gave him like $90 million or something like that. I don't know. Maybe then I could have seen him as Doctor Doom, but not now. Tim Story was signed to direct in 2004 after Fox was impressed with his early cut with Taxi. Okay, that starred Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, I don't think that was a good movie. And had him being the fan of the comics. Simon Kinberg wrote an incredibly draft of the script after seeing The Incredibles. So I decided to make some script changes and add more special effects to avoid similarities. So I would say this film was basically made because of Spider-Man 2 and The Incredibles. I wouldn't say because of Blade Trinity. Blade Trinity, it did make money, but not huge amounts of money like Spider-Man 2 and The Incredibles did. I think that's why. Incredibles is a superhero film too. It's Pixar, Disney Pixar, yes, but it's still a superhero film. And it did make money, so yeah. They had marketing for the movie. They had toys for the film. Uh, Fantastic Four. They had Burger King meals. You can commercials. They had commercials for toy from Burger King just to market the film. You know, here's a thing toy, and they also had Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, some of the characters, Human Torch, Invisible Woman. Yeah, yeah. And this character or Human Torch, even though he doesn't wear that in the movie, I don't think so. But they did have toys out of them and had commercials. And the movie did also have a video game. Yeah, there was a video game based on the movie. It's kind of got the same plot of the movie. The game is primarily a third-person action beat 'em up game. Players can move through the level as one or two members of the Fantastic Four, defeating enemies and stuff. You can also in the game you play the four characters. The Fantastic Four. So you can play Mr. Fantastic, which I like though because you can punch things or you can just roll around. And Invisible Woman, you can turn invisible when they're in Victor's facility. You can as a Sue you can turn invisible and hide from these robots that are trying to attack you. As Human Torch is pretty cool to play too, but he's on fire mostly. Which, like okay. Now, just in the video game we playing, but my favorite character to play in the game was to play the Thing because you can heat up punch things easy because his super strength. You can carry heavy objects and deal with enemies to damage them. He can also create locked doors and throw fireballs as rain. Yeah, you can do that as Johnny Storm. Invisible Woman, as that you can become invisible. She has talent, capacity, and ability to project force energy. Mr. Fantastic, you can use his abilities as well. I think you have to solve like puzzles, which I found annoying in the game most of the time. And of course, you take on Doctor Doom, but not just Doctor Doom. You can take on other villains as well. You know, there's the Puppet Master, Dragon Man. You got some other villains, and it's the same thing. At the end of the game, you have to fight Doctor Doom like they do within the movie. It's a pretty entertaining game, pretty fun game. You know, which the platforms of it are on PlayStation 2 and Xbox and GameCube. But for the plot synopsis of the Fantastic Four, the 2005 film, is that the story is that scientist Reed Richards persuades his arrogant former classmate, Victor Von Doom, to fund his experiments with cosmic energy. They want to go into space and study it. And so they bring Ben Grimm, including astronaut Ben Grimm, along. Doom funds the Von Doom space station, and his researcher Susan Storm and pilot Johnny Storm. But there is an accident that happens. The cosmic energy explodes into space and it gets them. They get exposed to a They get exposed to the mysterious cosmic storm that bestows them superpowers upon them. As they cope with their transformation, Von Doom vows his revenge. Well, what happens is in the movie, uh, I said Reed Richard gets the power to stretch his body, and they're trying to get rid of their powers. Reed gets that ability. Johnny can turn into fire. He can fly as well. A little later on in the movie, Van Grimm, of course, becomes the Thing, and Sue becomes invisible and uses forces. And like I said, we spoilers. Victor does get injured too, and he plots his revenge as he blames Reed for ruining his life, and he has a grudge against the Four, so he plans revenge. So Victor becomes Doctor Doom, and of course the Fantastic Four, they have to work as a team, and they have to defeat Doctor Doom once and for all before he destroys New York City. So yeah, it's kind of a plot in that show if you know the comics. And again, what did I forget to do? Read the cast and stuff. Sorry. Iron Girlfriend as Reed Richards. I've seen a movie called Amazing Grace. He was good in that. I think he was in 101 Two Dalmatians, San Andreas with the Rock, Jessica Alba as Sue Storm. Jessica Alba, she's been in some movies herself. Uh, Good Luck Chuck, The Eye, Valentine's Day, Little Fuckers. Spy Kids, yeah, that film, All Time World. I heard that film was not good. She was in Machete, Sin City, the first one and the sequel. That was another comic book film. Chris Evans is Johnny Storm. Now, Chris Evans, you all should know, he would go on to play another Marvel character. He would go to play Steve Rogers, Captain America, in the MCU. But that was not until 2011 when that movie came out. And of course, he got to be in the Avengers, and he did respire the role of Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think he voiced Casey Jones in the Team T, the 2007 CGI animated movie. And he's done other movies as well. I think was not another teen movie and Cellular, which is underrated. That's a thriller he did with Jason Statham and Kim Basinger and William H Macy. That was a good movie, underrated film in my opinion. And he voiced Buzz Lightyear in Lightyear, which I have no interest in seeing, but that's just me. So yeah, Chris Evans, good actor. Michael Cheska is Ben Grimm. Michael Cheska, he did shows like The Shield. I think he was in the TV show Gotham, which was a prequel to Batman. Yeah, he did a voice for Spirited Away. He was an Eagle Eye. Joe McMahon is Richard Von Doom. I think I remember him. Paranoia. Yeah, I didn't care for that movie. That was with Lemmy Worthless. So he was in Premonition with Sandra Bullock, and he did respire his role for the sequel for Rise of a Surfer, coming back as Von Doom. Heron, him and Lester as Leonard. Sorry, I can't read that different name right. Leonard. He's a guy that works for Doom. Kerry Washington, Alicia Masters, great actress, beautiful actress. She's really good in here. She was a lot better than the lead. I do like the romance in here between Ben and Alicia in this film. She was in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think she's in that movie Lakeview Terrace. Yeah, with Samuel Jackson. Laurie Holden as Debbie Miller. The only was she was in The Majestics with Jim Carrey and The Mist and a movie called Silent Hill. Kevin Maloney as Jimmy O'Houlihan. He was in movies like he was in Time Cop, Ernest Goes to School, John Tucker Must Die, Snakes on the Plane. Maureen Misney as Sexy Nurse. I can't say her name right, but beautiful actress. Michael Cospa as Ned. Can't think of any other movie I've seen him in. Well, he did some voice work. He voiced the Beast in X Men Evolution, and a voice for Iron Man. I think that's an animated show, and Planet Hulk. That was a superhero movie as well from 2010. And Stan Lee as Willie Lumpkin, who's like the mailman. And Stan Lee, of course, is a cameo. I miss Stan Lee. We all do, but as y'all know, Stan Lee did a lot of cameos in his Marvel movies. He does cameo in here. The Postal Worker. There is an extended version of the movie with extra scenes. I think you do have Hugh Jackman coming in as Wolverine, where with the face and scene to resemble Jackman's portrayal of him, but it was deleted. It was in the extended cut, and I've seen the extended cut. And I've already talked about the plot and everything. So hold on, it's directed by Tim Story. He also wanted to direct a sequel, the Tom and Jerry movie from 2021, which I heard wasn't good. Shaft, Think Like a Man. Yeah, he isn't that great a track record of films, in my opinion. Written by Mark Frost and Michael Frent. Michael Frantz. Okay, let's see. But he did scripts for the movie Sylvester Stallone movie Cliffhanger, the James Bond film Goldeneye, and he did other two of the comic book films before this that he wrote. The script for that was Hulk from 2003, Aliens Hulk, which I do hate that film, and The Punisher, underrated movie. Love that movie. Based on Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. It was produced by Abby Alford, who produced many Marvel movies. Ralph Winter. Um, he produced some of the Star Trek movies. Three, The Search for Spock, The Voyage Home, The Final Frontier, and The Undiscovered Country. Hocus Pocus. The first X-Men movie. Mighty Joe Young. X2. And he also produced the sequel. He produced X-Men The Last Stand. And X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah, terrible movie. And Hocus Pocus 2, I heard that was not good. Bernard Answer Engler. I can't say his name right. Sadly, he passed away back in 2011. Let's see what other films he worked on before he passed. Uh, yeah, he did work on the produce the Fantastic Four 1994 version and the sequel. The cinematography by Oliver Wood. He did cinematography films like Die Hard 2, Face Off, Freaky Friday, the remake with Lindsay Lohan and what's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Talladega Nights, The Bold and Wicked Bobby, and the Jason Bourne franchise, or the Bourne franchise, if you will. Rudy, I Spy, Surrogates, edited by William Hoy. He also was an editor on Watchmen, another superhero movie, but that's a lot darker than this. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War from the Planet of the Apes. Star Trek 6, Undiscovered Country, Patriot Games, Outbreak, I, Robot starring Will Smith, and the sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Music is by John Ottoman, who gives a good music score, but he did music score for other superhero movies. Let's see, for like Plastic, not a superhero film. He did the music score for X2 and Cellular, which was another movie Chris Evans starred in. After this movie he scored Superman Returns and the sequel Rise of the Silver Surfer. Any other superhero movies? X Men Days of Future Past and X Men Apocalypse. Production company is 20th Century Fox, Constantine Film, Marvel Enterprises, 1492 Pictures. It's distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was released July 2005. It's 160 minutes long. The budget was $87.1 million worldwide, and at the box office made $333.5 million worldwide. So it was successful. But the film did get negative reviews from critics. I don't understand why. The film is in a positive relation after the 2015 movie, which again, it deserved in the first place. It was good in the first place, way before that movie. So, yeah, I don't see why critics hated it at the time. I don't think it was terrible. I mean, the film has issues, but anyway, I've already described the plot synopsis. Sorry. I'll go ahead and talk about the movie itself. Sorry. We'll get into the story of it. Then I'll give my final opinion on the movie. What I like, what I didn't like about it. Pretty much you get into the story. I do like the opening. Now, I do like the music score by John Ottman. I'm not gonna lie, he gives a great score. He gave a good score for the X Men. And X Men Last Stand, despite maybe I do find that film disappointing. It's not the worst, one of the worst superhero movies. No, but I'm disappointed about. But one thing that I love about that movie is the film score by John Ottman. I mean, the music score is epic, and it's epic in here too. Da 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 da. It really works. I think, in my opinion. But the film opens. Reed Richards, Iron Gopher, he's convinced that evolution was triggered millions of years ago on Earth, but you open up with him and Ben Grimm, you read and Ben, saying, well, we gotta go to Victor. They want to do the project, they do want to go into space, but in order to do all this project to Reed to do his work, and of course Ben and him are friends, and I did buy them as best friends, yeah, is that he's got to get Von Doom, Victor Von Doom was the only man he can go to, because the science fair or the science people he works for, you know, it's part of his dream, I guess, and it's not working for him, so he has to go Victor Von Doom. And he explains to Victor that, Earth is plasma cosmic radioactive energy in space, and that they, talked about working together. And Victor's like, stop. So it's not my money, you just want my toys. It's like, relax, this is my job to know what those they don't know. Him and Victor were former classmates at MIT. Jim agrees, but he says, "Oh, Susan," and they agree. And him and Susan, she says, how's Debbie doing, Ben? And she looks at Reed. They had a past relationship when they were in MIT, but the relationship went sour. It didn't really work out. They just kind of like, it's not a problem, us working together. And they said, this is just business. So it is. They decided to work together. That this going to the mission instead of atomic energy. But Victor, no, he didn't. Victor just sees dollar signs, get a lot of money out of it, and he knows that Reed's always right, so he's gonna go for it. And reading to, Charlie's like, well, reading, you should look at those, whatever, and they kind of bigger. And Ben's like, when are we leaving? It's like, oh, it was hoping that Ben could pilot the aircraft, the space station or whatever. Yeah, it's like the space shuttle. Well, we have a pilot, but you're holding our shotgun. Remember my brother Johnny? And they see Johnny Storm kissing a girl while he's riding a bike. And, they got that cool music going on. He's like, no, you're not taking lessons from the music from the underworld model. You know, he crashed into a flight simulator. A flight simulator. I was like, how many times have I asked you not to do something that you want to do? This is 5 times. But I thought I had that 4, but this makes 5. Because he does not like him because Johnny's such a hothead. He even teases Ben. Kevin on the bridge. And he's like, this ain't takes a picture. Look on your hard ass face, Susan walks in with the suits. It's like they're Fantastic Four suits, but before that, and he's like, "Wow, these suits are amazing." But Sue thinks that she's, maybe he's flirting with her, but he's not. And she's like, "Reed," she just throws to him, but she's nice to her brother and, and Ben though. But they go up to space, and the way they make space look, it looks good here. Yeah, of course, it's part CGI, but it's good CGI for 2005. And Ben has to go collect these samples that they need, and Victor tells him, Ben, why don't you take a walk, Ben? And Ben just does not like Victor. I think they're about to get into it, but he gets him to calm down. And Ben and Johnny talk and said, well, maybe she's not over it either. Two hearts were broken last time. I was like, wow, Dr. Sensitive. And I like it when he goes up to space, Johnny, and he goes out into space and he's got a smile on his face. Uh, Victor has a talk with Susan. He wants with Sue. He tries to he wants to ask her. He tries to ask her to marry him, but Reeve realizes there's something wrong. That the storm is coming too soon. He's like, oh no, this can't be right. The storm's coming. Tells him, he's like, well then, shut the shutters. Close the shutters, doors or whatever. He's like, get a grip, Reed. We got a job to do. Just get it done. Victor says, and they said, look behind you. The storm's coming. He's like, I'm not gonna make it, guys. And he goes to jump, but the storm hits him right away, and you know, he just passes out. Ben and it hits Reed, Sue, and Johnny. Since they closed the shields, or Victor was, because Sue tells him, "I'm gonna go help them. You can help them more than I can. Well, I can try." And he closed the shields, um, and they get infected. The cosmic energy hits all four of them. Well, spoiler alert, it does hit Victor too, as we find out a little later. The shields didn't really protect him. He was on there too, and Cosmic Star, I think, could actually go through the shields, so that's why Victor got hit too. They end up back on Earth in Victor's hospital. He's like, Ben, you don't let your face humiliate him. He's like, give me that goddamn mirror. He's like, listen to the mirror. He's like, this is the picture. And he's like this. Fortunately, the doctor could not do anything but fix your face. I thought that was funny, especially when he repeated him. Then he looks at Reed, he's like, hey, liking the look, and he's got these two of his hair on the sides, grandpa looking hair. And then he tells the actress, I mean not the actress, the doctor, the nurse, daisies are her favorite flowers or whatever. So those are flower and Susan smiles about that. And Johnny says he wants to get out of there. He's just bored. They've been there for a good couple of weeks. And this nurse, who's really gorgeous by the way, tells her, you can't go anywhere. You can't leave. You're not allowed to leave. We still got to do tests. He's like, well, and she puts a thermometer in his mouth. Thermometer. He's like, and she's like, oh my God, your heart's wrong. Well, thank you. So are you. And he asked her out to go skiing. And Ben and Reese see each other for since a couple of weeks. And he's like, it's at this time in your life you think you want the right woman in your life. And you're talking about Sue. He's like, you and Debbie are perfect. Like, come on, Ben. Sorry if I go over my. She's got a great thing going on with Victor. He's rich. He's powerful. Why don't you marry him then? And you also have seen a Victor planning to have a dinner with Sue. And someone like said he has powers too because when he touches a light or a lamp, power lights start going off. I mean, electricity starts blinking and stuff. Electricity goes crazy when he touches a mirror. Even when Victor touches his hair, like his hair is falling out, you know. But you see Johnny go with the girl, go skiing in Alaska, I guess, whatever, you know. And she's like, and they're like riding, they're having fun. Cool shot scene, really good shot scene. And she's like, "You're on fire." And he's like, "No, you're on fire." He's like, ah, ah. And he nearly falls down a hill, and then he gets on fire for the first time. He's like, "How was that?" He's like, "Girl," to the lady, "You want to join me?" And Reed, Ben, and Sue are having lunch together. At first, they don't want to have it. Reed and Sue just don't like to talk to each other, but they have dinner. And, you know, Ben's like, just trying to talk up, just wants to go lay down. And Reed and Sue, she's like, He tells her, she's like, I'm about to get out of here, but like, boy, man, I just want to say, I'm happy for you and Victor. It's like, well, you're such a dork, Reed. You never got it. Their relationship, I didn't really care. It was not annoying as Peter and Mary Jane in the Sam Raimi trilogy, but it was kind of annoying a little bit. I didn't really buy these two as the leads of the film, especially Iron Gopher. I mean, he's just all right. You know, there's one thing I will say about the 2015. I do think that film has a bit of a better cast. Don't get me wrong. I love Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, and Mark Joseph is great. But the 2015 film, say what you will, I think it has a better Reed Richards and a better Sue Storm in it. At least I don't have to hear them bickering. You know, you know. But anyway, they're talking. She's like, sometimes it's nice for you to be looked at. And she turns invisible. She's like, what do you mean you can't look at me? Look at me. He's like, I can't. She knocks the bottle, almost a wine bottle over. Reed grabs it by stretching out his hand. Like, what? And then Johnny comes up with a girl's jacket, like using it as a blanket to cover himself. And he's like, guys, imagine it's not that this is hilarious. He's like, fire coming out of his hand. He's like, imagine that, but everywhere. You know, like the storm has affected us. This is crazy. I'm not the only guy here to think this is awesome. And Ben is freaking out. He's like, oh. And then he turns into the thing, uses powers to jump right out of the building. And they can't get to him at first. They can't open the door. They don't know the code. Johnny and Sue are arguing. He's like, Johnny, stop it. Why? Why? You know, and Ben, Reed has to put use his stretch abilities to go to the door and open it. And I thought it was hilarious. I do remember watching this with the audience, and the audience I watched it with seemed to enjoy this film. I even remember by the end of the thing, it's like with it. But anyway, Johnny's like, that's gross. And Ben goes, and Victor comes and says, everything okay? She's like, I'm sorry that I couldn't, go to lunch with you, Victor. It's just that, whole thing with Ben, a lot of things were happening. He's like, it's fine, just find Ben, you know. And I forgot to mention though that Victor's business is, you know, Von Doom Ministries is going down the drain. He's losing money, especially after the incident in the cosmic storm. And his boss Ned is telling him that the bank ain't gonna pay no more, Victor. So you have 1 week. He's like, you're enjoying this, aren't you, Ned? You have a week. And like I said, they said, where Ben's going? Ben is going home to Debbie, his soon-to-be fiance. Because a minute, he calls her to come out there, and she sees him for the first time. She's like, no, get away from me. She runs away from him, almost gets run over by a car. Then Ben runs away, and he's at the Brooklyn Bridge, on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, just tired, sad. And then the bird flies right on. So it's like, hey, Phil, you're not scared of Mary. And then the bird comes and like, thanks. This guy tries to kill himself, and Ben's like, you think you got a problem? Look at me, pal. And he's scared, and Ben's like, you don't want to do that, sir. No, don't do that. You know. And he almost gets hit by a truck, and Ben went with the truck, which is cool. And it causes a traffic jam. And he tries to help get the guy out of there. The guy can't leave the seatbelt, so he has to pick up the seat using his strength. The cops say, let it go, let him go, drop it now. And Ben does, and then electricity goes off. Ben runs off, they try to shoot him, but a bullet didn't affect him. Sue, Reed, and Johnny are falling up behind. In order to get the Ben, they have to cause a distraction, so Reed gets Sue to take her clothes off, but, she's just in bra and stuff. But she disappears invisible. It distracts people enough that they can get through the whole crowd. And they see what Ben looks like, and then all of a sudden, this explosion goes off after the wreck. Johnny jumps in and saves this little girl. Since his body's made of fire, fire can't hurt him, so he uses his powers to protect the girl. And Susan uses her force shield for the first time. And Reed saves the guy from one of the fire from drowning. And Ben grabs the fire truck and pulls it strength. And it said, "Don't arrest him. He's a hero." And this is the moment in the movie where I feel really heartbroken for Ben. Also, that makes you want to cry, just because you feel bad for this character. You know, his wife Debbie's there. She sees him. He tries to go up to her. She's like, takes off her wedding ring. You know, puts it on the ground, and you just see the look on Ben's face, and you feel heartbroken for him. and he tries to pick it up, but he can't. And Reed picks it up, says, "I swear, Ben, with with every gift from my power, you're going to be Ben Grimm again." With that happening, he's just looking at the ring, and they do throw some humor in there with Johnny saying, "Where are your ears?" And he's like, and they said, "The press won't talk to you. We're not celebrities." So I'm like, "It's too late for that, son." And Johnny, who's a hothead, just wants to jump into things without thinking. He loves the attention and stuff. He's like the young guy group, and he's the young guy group who loves the attention, thrill seeker. You could say he's the immature one. Yeah, it's totally different from playing Captain America, but Chris Evans is great at both characters, Marvel characters. They're just different. Whereas Captain America is all about, loving America and serving America, and is very serious, very serious about his job. Johnny is not. He's a hothead. Very different, but tries to go talk, and the chief says, the chief of the firefighter chief says, "All right, who's in charge here?" And Johnny's like, "Me," and he's like, "Oh, really?" And they tell him about what cosmic storm, that they don't know about what they do, they don't know about their powers, but Johnny throws for the attention, you know, and they're like, "Is Johnny just driving them crazy?" They go to the Baxter, they end up with TV. I mean, Victor sees them on there. Maybe he can use them to boost his company, to boost his company. And then he's like, "Victor, this ain't gonna work. You failed. Your business is done." But he's like, "Please just give me shit. Do you know how money I'm invested in all this?" He's like, "Well, it's not my problem, Victor. You're failed. You're out." Victor's like, and they go to the Baxter building. You have the Stanley cameo. His little children get scared of Ben thing, and he says, "I'll do drugs," and he can't go up in the elevator. Am I the only guy here that thinks that it's so awesome? You know, that's what we're here to find out. And they see the Baxter building, and he lives there. It's his own science lab. I say, "Ray, you bring your home with you, your work home with you, right?" Von Victor comes in to talk to them, to talk to, to advise Sue that he's a convert for her staying, but she says no, she's better staying there for now. And Victor leaves, and they talk, and he talks to Reed, and Victor talks like, Reed, I'm sorry, Victor, he tries to apologize for what happened. You ruined the lives of 4 people, you know. He gets so mad, he yells the power, like power starts going out, and he gets so mad, and feels like Reed is responsible for ruining his life, ruining his business, so he punches the elevator door and breaks it, and he gets in the middle on his hands, and he tries to go to his doctor about it. Victor, yeah, the doctor guy tells him that this could be a disease and we need to let it out. And he's like, "No, we gotta keep this confidential." Victor's not listening. He's like, "No, we can't do that." And he's like, "That's just not good enough." Throws him and kills the guy. I just get a second opinion. And this is where his powers start to eventually grow. Well, before that happens, though, what the group does is they have to test their power. So they test Johnny by, putting him in a machine. You see him on fire, and the CGI when he's on fire looks really great for 2005. It does. I mean, yeah, the '94 film just didn't suck because of the story, but the special effects were awful too. No excuse for it. But this film had a budget and did have really good special effects. Despite if you don't like the movie, you can't tell me it doesn't have good special effects. The special effects in here are really good. And I love the way the thing looks. It's not CGI, it's practical. I bet Michael Chesky has sit in a good time in a makeup chair. But anyway, they test them, they put him in the fire. Johnny goes supernova, like, "Johnny, don't do that. You can kill yourself and the entire planet. It's like the power of the sun." He's like, "Okay, good. Supernova, bad." They test Ben, hit him with a hammer and stuff, and they reach his heart, like his cells are made of rock. And he's like, "How bad is it? I used to smoke." And retests Sue, and she uses her force shield powers on him by accident. He's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And he's like, "You walked out on me, right?" And they bicker a little bit, and Johnny comes in and goes, like, his clothes are burned. But Victor, meanwhile, after losing his company and everything, his hands become more metal. And when he touches this, electric shock, like electric shock, plug in. He touches it, electricity comes up, and then Victor just more this, you know, gets more power, and he starts to get revenge on his boss Ned, and Ned's like, Victor, what about these lights, huh? And Victor's walking up to him very slowly, and he's like, nothing personal, Ned. Maybe you just need to move on, and maybe you just need to go somewhere, you know. And Victor's like, strikes him and really puts a hole through his chest. I mean, pretty dark for PG-13, the way he kills Ned. And he's like, no offense, Ned, but I'm not going anywhere. Then I like it though, the scene where they're talking, and she tells, the group's talking, saying that they're going, he wants to construct this machine to reverse the storm, to make them normal again. And how long, Reed? It'll take a while, it'll take a good couple of weeks, near to a month. He's like, you don't know. You know, I like it when he was trying to drink some juice and Johnny took it away from Johnny causes a fire. And then she said, Johnny, you shouldn't be seeing the thought. You've been saying that for years. I think Victor's watching on these cameras, he's watching what they're doing, plotting his revenge. God. Like I said, Reed plans to construct the storm, and they have to wait for a while. I do like it though when Johnny puts this giant whipped cream on his hand, and gets to tease him, and he puts it on his face like, yeah. Yeah. Or when Reed walks on soon when she's getting out of the shower, like, can you knock? Or when he's I guess in the bathroom and Johnny sees that Reed uses his stress abilities to grab toilet paper. Again, it's Marvel, so you gotta have some humor in there, Marvel is lighthearted, so you do have to throw humor in there, and that works. And it's a comic book movie too. You gotta have humor in a comic book movie. I mean, where it's good, and the humor in here works. Ben, you do feel sorry for him though. That the whole movie, let him want to be normal. He tries to go sit down at a bar. He falls from the chair. He's like, that's not funny. And this guy says, respect Van Grimm. Your Kerry Washington, who plays Alicia Masters, who was blind. She's like, come on, it's not so bad. And she touches, him, just touches his face. Being different is not such a bad thing. If you saw me, you wouldn't be saying that right now. And he's like, I'm Alicia, by the way. And we realize it's somebody who maybe likes him for who he is. It makes him feel good. Yeah. It was nice to see a smile on his face. And meanwhile, Victor steals some equipment, some military stuff, like a super cool unit, a cooling unit or whatever, and some weapons he takes, and he kills these guys for it. That's part of his industries or his business, military stuff that he steals, but using his powers to kill them, of course. And as watching them, he realizes he's got to get rid of Ben first, get the thing out of the way. So he tries to work between them by buying him lunch, talking to Victor talking to Ben, and telling him that, well, he's spending a lot of time with Sue. And he realizes it's true. And because Reed's been working a lot, when it's been stressing him out a little bit, he's been tired. Let him and Sue go out. Because, I wanted you to be that kind of man. Victor was never me and him at all. I wanted you to be that man for me. Just girl can't wait forever. So she tells him. And he does that. He does the Wolverine face though. I don't feel like that was necessary. I thought it was more funny when he did the little thing with his face down. That's a lot more funny. But anyway, I think in the extended version, they kind of go out to like a theater or whatever, spend more. You see them spend more time together in the extended version, or Johnny hanging out with girls and Johnny learning to control his powers. He plays with his powers. I forgot to mention. There's also the scene where he goes to the motocross and rides the bike, which is cool. He's like something new. He tries to use his powers. Doesn't work, and he takes off the suit and they see his Fantastic Four suit for the first time. He's like, fire, and he's, him and Ben almost fights, you know. He's like, it's a fist that's about to be broken, you know. And he's like, at least I didn't turn into a monster. And he's like, he's gonna hit him. He's like, and then he throws fireballs at him. He's like, all right, hey, bro, you wanna fly? Then fly. Let's see if we can get blood out of a rock. Let's see. And they're about fighting. She's like, you two need time out. Susan says that. And she talks to Ben. Sorry, I go with every my reviews. She talks to Ben. He's like, it's easy for you. No, it's not. Oh, Susie, I would give anything just to be invisible. And again, you feel heartbroken for the big fella. And that's when he's talked to by Victor. And Victor, I mean, he goes to confront, Ben goes to confront Reed. And yeah, have that effect on people too. It's like, so you've been spending time with her and not helping me at all. You made your promise. So you remember who I am? My name Ben, do you? It was like this. He's like, well, you need to give me more time. I am looking. He's like, you can spend the weekend with your girlfriend. I'll play the freaking weekend. He pushes him. He's like, get out of the way, Susie. And they fight, and Reed has to, wrap around him using his abilities to calm him down. He's like, I ain't gonna watch your back no more. And Johnny and Sue get into an argument. She's like, you're just a factor than Johnny. By the way, they love me. Stop telling me how to live my life. Got it? Bye. And now that they're broken up, Victor calls for gets his assistant to get Leonard to get Bingram to come over, which works. He says, you want to be Bingram? And Ben, who is so desperate to come, himself again. Ben doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to be Bingram. Doesn't want any of that. But it also motivates Reed to use the machine on himself. But he can't generate enough power, so it, kind of makes him drain a little bit with his powers. And Sue has to take him to another building to get him to sleep. And Victor, tricks Ben into going to the machine. When Ben's in the machine, just turn back to himself. He goes in the machine, clicks in there, and it gives him more strength. He's like, well, then goes back to looking like himself, his human self. He's like, thank you so much for me. He's like, I can work for you too. He's like, oh, it did, Ben. And you see Victor more electricity on his body, more metal on his face coming. He's like, I've always wanted power. This is what a man looks like. And he wants to be powerful. He's almost like one down, three to go. And then Reed shows up like, Victor, what have you done? You need help. What happens when you super cool heat rubber, you know, and I outsmarted you, Reed. He uses electricity. He does, Reed does use his powers to move, but he gets shots. And he doesn't go far because Reed shocks him again. This time he goes at the window, tries to use his stress ability to not fall from the building, but it doesn't work. He gets knocked out. And so goes like, Dr. Doom, are Mr. Doom, are you okay? Never better, Jimmy knocks him out. Grabs Victor goes like, come on to my office, Reed. While Reed's knocked down, he's like, as he says, Dr. Doom mask. I know we don't see it here nor where. Okay, yeah. Where he, comes Dr. Doom. He sees the mask, he kicks it. And then you got the awesome music playing. And he's like, so tell me, Dr. Reed, Dr. Richards, here's your lesson. What happens to rubber when it's super cool heated? And then he, breaks his finger. He's like, when Reed's frozen here, he's like this. Painful? You don't know the meaning of the word. Some from our little defense contracts. And he grabs the missile. And Johnny and Sue hear the explosion as well. They come to check on Ben. And the pistol is headed for Johnny. And Johnny's like, okay, I do this. And Johnny jumps down. Again, he doesn't have the word. He does find the word. He jumps down, like, flame on. And just to see him fly, I remember seeing it in theaters. It was like awesome to see. I mean, theaters basically the first time I've seen this movie. This was all great to see the Human Torch fly. He does. And Sue tells Ben to stay there, but Ben realizing like, what have I done? He decides to go back into the machine to become the thing again. He tries to kill Johnny. Johnny flies around. Johnny tries to go fly into the air. Like the, you know, It's a fireball up there, but the missile comes back, and he's able to go to a boat, a ship. It's you know, Kills the fireball there. Lands there, and the machine thinks it gets him, but he lands in the water. Victor's thinking he's dead. And Sue's like, Sue, because he's frozen. He's like, Susan. He's like, Victor, let's talk. We don't need to do this. You think gifts were made us into a God's like, Victor, you always thought you were a God. Susan, let's not fight. No, let's use, force you on him. It's like, Susan, you're fired. When she disappears, he's like, Marco Polo. And he's a force your powers in him, but he uses his electric powers. Grabs her by the throat. Now it's time to end this. But Ben shows up. The thing shows up. Love the line. It's clobbering time. If I should be like, you don't have to do that. Because Victor ain't that bad, huh? And the power goes out. Victor comes back and attacks Ben. They end up going through some of the buildings, punching each other. They land on the street. They click, he electrocutes him to a car. Ben, the cops start shooting at Dr. Doom, but Doom is able to use his powers, electricity powers, so, you know, the thing grabs the car, throws it at him. He just, the cape and the cowl come off. You know, as soon as he comes off, he's like, grabs his weapon, attacks him with it. He said, goodbye, Ben. He's like, I'll be with you in a minute, Reed. And he's about to kill him. And then Sue, uses her force shield on him. Yeah. It's like, when you three are pathetic. We'll make that four because Johnny, hits him with fire. He's like, you missed me. He's like, yeah. He's like, this is going to be fun. So he wants to fight them. And he, uses all the electricity in the streets of all the buildings to power himself up. And again, they have to work as a team. Because again, if they're divided, he could beat them. Because Doctor Doom is a very powerful villain. So they have to work as a team. I used to complain that it was too easy for them to beat. But if you think about it, he was smart enough to pick them off one by one. And if they had not put aside their differences, he probably could have, defeated them. But they have to work together as a team. At first, Doctor Doom, you know, shocks Johnny at first, and then he shocks, I think the thing again, you know, he tries to shock at Susie, but she uses her force shield, her arm as a force. She's like, I can't hold him, and then Reed grabs something with his powers, stretch, throws something at him, you know, jumps up to him, like rolls around using his powers, his stretching abilities, throws around, and he's like, Johnny, use your, supernova. Like, we wouldn't do that now, and Ben grabs him, and then he goes around the fire. Oh, I haven't fed him. You good? Yeah, almost done. No, I'm still doing a video. Okay, but anyway, Johnny goes supernova, flies around him. He's like, and then he's like, so you think you can take it? She uses the force shield. Victor using his powers to let's just try to get him, but it's not working. He's like, oh, you know, and she was looking at him, disappointment, I guess. And he's like, that's all you can manage? A little heat? What happens to metal when it's super heated? It gets frozen. So, uh, a fire hydrant, then kicks it, jump, he's able to use his powers, his stretch abilities to fire him up and it freezes him, and the audience and the people clap. Because I'm like, yeah, and they got the cool suits on. And it's like, well, we do have the suits, we like the job. Then at the end, they have a party, and Ben tells Reed to forget about it. That he takes Johnny's word to heart, where Johnny says, this is who we are, accept it. And they do by the end of the movie. And Reed proposes to Sue. They share a kiss, and Johnny bugs Ben, says, here comes Mr. Freak himself. And he's like, oh, Mr. Sensitive. And then he uses, hey, flame on, flies and puts the Fantastic Four, signal in the sky. But if you have the DVD, probably would see that. And then the movie ends there. And that's the Fantastic Four 2005 version. Yeah. Hold on before I get my final opinion on this movie. Okay, put it this way, I love the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. It is so underrated. Now, what do I like about the movie? I do like the story. Story's really good. I like the plastic energy, how they get their abilities and stuff. Some cool scenes of them using their powers and a good villain. I thought Doctor Doom was a good villain. The actor who played him. The cast was pretty good for the most part. Um, yeah. Before I get any negatives, I do think Chris Evans was great and steals the show as Johnny Storm. But I think the character, my favorite character in the movie was the Thing of the four, was Ben, because I care for him the most. I feel the most sorry for him, and his powers are cool. Jill McMahon as Doctor Doom, Victor, he was great. Like did a great job. The rest of the cast is good too. I like Stanley's cameo, it's a good cast. The story's good. Tim Story did a great job directing. The cinematography is nice. All the way the film looks. It does feel like a comic book. And you don't need comic book panels like Anna Lee films. Oh, does. I'm like, thank God I didn't do that. You didn't need that. Yeah. The cinematography and the editing is really good. The action scenes are real good too. I do wish for a bit more action, but that's fine. It's an origin story like the superhero films, not action movies, except like the Blade movies or the Punisher films. They're action films. But the music by John Ottman is really good. You know, da, 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 da. And the film does have some good songs in it as well. Let's see. The film does have a novelization book about it, but here, come on, air operator. What happened to the heroes? Waiting, always come back to you. Everything burns. Yeah, pretty good soundtrack on the album for this movie. But I think the cast is good. Most of the cast is good. Not all of them, but again, the story is good. The special effects and CGI for the time is good. And the film is 106 minutes long. It goes by at a good pace. It doesn't bore me. The reason it's my favorite Fantastic Four movie because it has a good story about them becoming a team and them having to become a team by the end. They become like a family. You know, I bought them as a family toward the end of the movie. You know, becoming a family. You know, that they've known each other for a while since they were in school. There's some differences there, but they get these powers, their abilities, and they are going to get rid of them first, but they learn to accept that this is who they are, and they accept it. And I can see why Victor became a villain. He, you know, went through a lot. His company, his life basically got ruined, and he just lost his mind. You know, but you know, Julian Mann did a good job playing Victor, and I can understand why Victor feels bad. And when he gets his powers out of him, he begins to enjoy it and becomes insane. And I do think the mask is probably, in my opinion, this is the best looking version of the Thing in Doctor Doom. I do like the Doctor Doom in 2015 when he's, you know, using his powers to rip people's brains up. I think it looks good in this film too, but in that film too. But this is my favorite version of Doctor Doom, you know, because they give you a reason for his insanity where he goes crazy. Yeah, I do think the extended version is better though. I don't love everything about like the Hugh Jackman thing that was a little too silly, you know. And again, against my problems, I don't like Jessica Alba as Susan Storm. I think she's the weak link of the movie. Now, don't get me wrong, Jessica Alba is a very beautiful woman. There was this movie I watched. It was called Awake, I think. She did with Hayden Christensen, who was Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars, and she played the villainess in that movie, and she was really good. And good like Cherkham, she's good, but she's not that good of an actress in my opinion. She's hot, she's a gorgeous woman, but I would like Scarlett Johansson or Brie Larson better, or Elizabeth Olsen as better Marvel actresses in my opinion. They're a lot better. I can name a few others, but you know, but those three I think are better. And the woman that plays the Wasp in the Ant-Man movies, Evelyn Lilly, I think her name is. I can't say her name right, but those actresses are better. I will say Brie Larson's better as Captain Marvel. I mean, Jessica Alba, she's hot, she's a model, but her acting's not that good in here, and her dialogue I thought was kind of annoying in here. And Ian Gopher, he was man, he's all right. I prefer Miles Teller and Kate Myra to be better. I think their chemistry is better. And here when they're bickering, it's just pretty irritating to listen to. I didn't really care about their relationship. I didn't see no chemistry between them. I'm like, you could have just let the love story out. Yeah, people can complain about the story in the 2015 film, but at least Reed and Sue, there's some sweet chemistry there. Yeah, and that, you know, at least they're not bickering. And, you know, because in this movie, their bickering was irritating. I didn't care for the relationship in the movie. They do go more on it Rise of Silver Surfer, especially since they're going to get married now. But again, you know, those two I think were miscast. But again, The three other cast members, that was Chris Evans, Mike Wachowski, Children Man were great. Educated Washington was great. She's a lot better than the other actress. I like it how they come together when she, touches Ben. Well, you know, when she can see him. She can't see him, but she feels him and tells that he's heartbroken, man. And, he loves her. They fall in love. And I bought it. He wasn't kidnapped by some bull man or whatever like she was in the 94 film. That was stupid. By saying, I love you, Ben, and him turns back to Ben. Yeah, that didn't make no sense. But here's better. The special effects are better than the 94 film. Doom, I like that they freeze him, that they have team up. Doom dies in such a stupid way in the 94 film. Yeah, and his voice was, and his suit was terrible in that movie. That's the worst version of Doctor Doom. The 94 version, yes. The voice was over the top and too silly. The voice in here, Doom Man, I mean, he's got that evil voice that works really well for the character, you know. And the cast was still great, and I thought it had a good story. It's an entertaining movie. It's still my favorite Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, the sequel, I think of the sequel as a time waster. I know people will say, well, it's better than Fan Four. Well, I'll be the judge of my own opinion on that film. That'd just be my opinion. Maybe I'll agree with you. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I don't know what I was going to say since I'm done with the review. So that was my review of the Fantastic Four 2005 film, or if you will. No, I'll just do this. Oh, the 2005 movie. I love this movie. I'm very nostalgic for this movie. It was part of my childhood. It's definitely one of my favorite comic movies. It's definitely a really underrated movie. Despite those issues I have with it, though, it's still a good movie. Now, I would say it's not one of the best comic, it's not one of the best superhero movies ever. No, but it's definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely one of the good ones out there that does not deserve the hate, but the critics say about it, you know. But it's a good movie in my opinion. It's a lot better than the '94 film, than the '94 film. I still call that the worst. Yes, I know you'll say 2015, but you know, I prefer this over the 2015 one, but that's just me. I feel a lot of people agree with me on that, but still, I don't hate that film either. Didn't mind that movie. But anyway, blowing that down the road. So, guys, my rating for Fantastic Four, the 2005 version, is I'm gonna give this my favorite Fantastic Four movie. My rating for the film is, well, I'll give it a thumbs up for this one, and my rating for it is 4 to 5 stars. So, Fantastic Four 2005 version, my rating 2005 version, my rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars. Once again, 4 to 5 stars. So, guys, tell me in the comments down below, what do you think of Fantastic Four from 2005? Do you like it and do you hate it? And what's your favorite Fantastic Four movie? Is it the 1994 film or the one? Is it the 2005 one? Rise of Silver Surfer, which this won't be reviewed till later down the road, and 2015 one as well. When I get into 2010 there's the reviews. But I'm sure that's your least favorite. But tell me what's your favorite Fantastic Four movie. And tell me what you think of this movie in your opinion, the first Fantastic Four movie. Yeah. And let me know if you have this Blu-ray version of it. Just to warn you, it doesn't have no special features, but you do get good high definition from it, and it does look great on Blu-ray. So, anyway, guys, once again, just tell me what you think about this movie. And my rating for this film, once again, the Fantastic Four 2005 version, I'm gonna give this 4 to 5 stars, 4 to 5 stars, and a thumbs up. So, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. And for the next review, hmm, hmm, hold on, which is probably gonna be a rant. I think we got. Let's see. Yep, I got 3 2005 films left before in the year of 2006. And next will be, oh gosh, with Edward Furlong, Tara Reid, David Pronounce, and I think Danny Trio and Dennis Hopper, late Dennis Hopper's in this movie as well. Next I will be reviewing The Crow Wicked Prayer. So yeah, so stay tuned for the rant on The Crow Wicked Prayer. That'll be next. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.